What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have another NFL Sunday slate to go over. Tomorrow we'll have NFL or Monday Night Football. And then after that, guys, we have the NBA that is back. So if you guys have been following for a while, you guys know NBA is where all of this started for the YouTube channel, and I'm super excited for this year. I think it's going to be one of our best years ever, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So if you guys aren't in our Discord, the Discord is free to join. We'd love to have you guys in there. So I do want to show something, guys. We are on day 4 of our ladder challenge. So we're going to skip over through some of these wins. We're going to talk about yesterday. So yesterday on TikTok and Instagram, I didn't have a YouTube video for Saturday, but I did give day 2 of the ladder. So this ended up cashing California, then the over on the total. We ended up with 171 plus 122, which ended up being $293.88, which is what we played on day 3 of the ladder. So this is what I did on day 3 of the ladder. It was posted in our Discord, it was posted on TikTok on my story, and it was posted on my story on Instagram. I did not make content this morning. I was running a bit behind. The game that I wanted to start with, which was the over for LSU game, it started at 12 p.m. my time, and I was not going to have time to get the content and actually have you guys to see it. So I posted it like 2 hours before the game on my story. So what we did, $293.88 to win $245 pretty much. So $100 to over $500 since it's just cashed. So we ended up taking a sweetheart teaser, which I don't usually play a lot of these. I've been dabbling into them a little bit more. I liked this slip a lot. So it ended up being Missouri plus 11.5, LSU plus 15, the over on the SMU Clemson game at 37.5, and then Tennessee to not get beat by 22.5. And I'm not going to lie, dude, this was a sweaty freaking play. It almost chalked. But it cashed us out. This was a slip showing it's locked in. So we cashed out for $538, something like that, almost $540 that we're going to have to play on day 4 of the ladder. So if you guys aren't following the TikTok, if you're not following our Instagram, go follow. Link is down in the description, and we'll do day 4 today or tonight that will be posted, and hopefully it does end up cashing. Look at some of our other wins. These were posted by our tennis guy, Lewis. Lewis posted these, a 10X that he posted for tennis, $20 to win $200. And then he won this one right here, 30 for $750. This one ended up being a DNP, and this ended up being a push, so it didn't actually pay out the 25X like it normally would, but it was a nice little hit. We cashed so far, guys. So I started back playing on chalkboard a lot more about 3 days ago. I posted 6 slips on chalkboard in 3 days. We cashed 5 of the 6. So we cashed this one, we cashed this one, we cashed this one right here, we cashed these 2, which is the 5 that we won. And I posted 3 slips today, which was these 2 slips, and then this one right here, which ended up missing. So this is the only miss I've had on chalkboard in 3 days. Our man Sam Keltner missed a PAT. So SMU versus Clemson, I put 3 extra points to be made. He missed one. And then they scored again and went for 2 and didn't get it. So obviously, or maybe they did get it. I don't remember if they got it or not. I wasn't actually watching the game myself. I was more a box score watching all these games while I was at the gym. But anyways, this ended up being a hook or a chalk, a rough hook to sell my sweep for today, which actually hurt. We did cash Retlaff with Damon Williams under rush attempts, 100 for 300. And then we had some nice dubs on Underdog as well. We can now play sportsbook bets on Underdog, so I've been kind of playing around with it. Sometimes you can find some good value on there. Georgia Tech plus 3.5. We did $300 to win $545. Then we had the Mustangs to win. This is a little plus 150 play. It was $350 to win $853, which is a very nice win. So yesterday wasn't bad. We had actually a pretty good day, and I'm hoping we can continue that into NFL Sunday. So that being said, enough rambling. I do this in every single video. I am going to pick a winner from our last video to win a free month of VIP. If this video gets 250 likes, I'll randomly select a comment down below to win a free month. So make sure you guys drop a comment, leave a like on the video, and let's go ahead and pick our winner. So the winner is going to be for, drum roll please, Alex Too Hard, who said, let's go. Thanks for the props. You're welcome, my man. Send me a message on Discord. I will get you added for that free month of VIP. I do appreciate you liking the video. I appreciate you commenting, and I do appreciate you watching as well, my man. So that being said, guys, it's 12 a.m. my time. Oh, your boy's ready for bed. So I'm trying to get this video out early because we got another international game in London, Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, which is pretty dang early. I know if you're more on the West Coast, it's even earlier for you. But for me, it's 9:30 a.m., and I am just ready to go to bed. But we're here getting this video out, so Let's do it. I want to say, guys, if you want to get all my plays, every single pick that I post, every single slip that I personally play, click the WAP link down in the description. $25 a month or $10 a week, you can get every single one of those. Just join our Discord, join the WAP, and you'll have access to every single VIP play in the Discord. We'd love to have you guys in there, just throwing that out there. And let's talk about some of these games, guys. So the first game we have is the Rams taking on the Jaguars. This is obviously the game I was talking about in London. Right now, the Jags are sitting plus 154 odds. There's a 3.5-point spread, and the total is sitting at 44.5. Public betting has 62% of the money on the Jags, which I think is absolutely crazy. But then you got 68% of the money on the Jags covering the spread. And I think this is crazy, but my pick'em has like 12% pick on the Jags, man. I kind of got to pick the Jags just for a chance for me personally to be able to win this pick'em league. So I'm going to take the Jags, even though I think that this is a coin flip game. The total right now has 64% of the money taking the under on this total. Looking at these two teams, and I'm not going to talk about every single game on the slate. There's 5 games on NFL that I want to talk about, and it's because I think they're going to be good for props. This one probably isn't going to be the best for props. These international games are going to be very low scoring usually. They've been struggling a lot in these. A lot of these NFL teams have, so I don't lean for this to be a shootout or anything like that or super high scoring. But you never know, man. These international games are tough to call. So looking at it right now, the Rams, 67% win rate right now. They've lost 2. They've won 4. Looking at their last game, they played Baltimore, before I get roasted in the comments again because I call Baltimore, whatever you want to call it, man. I'm going to call it the Ravens. How about that? When they played the Ravens in the last game, they won 17-3. So Cooper Rush obviously is not worth 14 points. That's one of my other YouTube buddies, and I mean, he ain't really my buddy. I like him, but anyways, if you get the reference. But anyways, Cooper Rush did not obviously do well for the Ravens so far. His last couple of games, they have been struggling. Rams just beat them 17-3. Game before that, they lost a close game to San Francisco, lost a close game to the Eagles, which should have been a win for them, which was a touchdown, or which is a field goal that was blocked for a touchdown for the Eagles. So that should have been a dub. This game was close enough to where it could have went either way. So technically, a couple of their losses, man, are some tough L's that they've taken. They beat some decent teams. They beat Houston. They beat the Colts 27-20. Haven't looked bad, man. If you look at the Jags, called this from the beginning, I think the Jags are going to have a good season. The Jags have stepped it up this season. They beat Carolina. They beat the Bengals, which isn't saying much for either of those two teams. They did beat Houston, a decent defensive team that struggled at the start on offense. They've been looking a little bit better. They beat San Francisco. They beat the Chiefs, and then they just lost to Seattle. So the Seahawks ended up just beating them. This game's tough. So let's take a look at these two teams offensively. We're going to scroll down here and we're going to look and see how they've been doing on offense. So right now, the Rams are averaging 375 yards per game on offense, 105 rush yards and 270 pass yards. If you look at the Jags, they're giving up 350. They have the 8th ranked defense in rushing yards, giving up 91 rushing yards per game. And then they have the 29th rate, so one of the worst passing defenses in the league, giving up almost 257 passing yards per game. Looking at the other side of things, Jags are rushing for 124 per yards, almost a top 10 rushing offense so far, and then they're passing the ball for 207. So Trevor Lawrence obviously hasn't been an insanely good quarterback. He struggles a little bit some games, throwing for about 200, but they have a pretty decent run game. Looking at the Rams side of things, Rams have a middle-of-the-pack rushing defense, giving up almost 108 yards per game, and they have a top 10 pass defense, only giving up 199 passing yards. So this isn't a game that I think Trevor Lawrence is going to excel in. This is a game where I think Travis Etienne could end up being the star of the show. We'll see what happens this game. I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game personally. I don't think it's going to be the greatest for props, and I'm probably going to end up fading a lot of props on this. I might play Etienne. I've been listening to comments. I'm probably not going to do any fantasy. I might do a fantasy slip, but I'm not going to use it for the free picks or anything like that. I might end up playing Travis Etienne on something like that. Looking at the next game I wanted to talk about, we're going to skip over the Panthers, or we're actually not going to skip the Panthers-Jets game. I'm going to pull that up here in just a moment. But anyway, let's take a look at it. So right now, the Jets, 0-6, man. Plus 105 underdogs right now at home. Jets are plus 1.5 on the spread, and the total sitting at 40.5. So a very low total. Right now, 67% of the money is on the Jets. 34% of the money is on the Jets to cover the spread, and then 90% of the money on the under on this total. Looking at these two teams, the powerhouses of the NFL right now. Panthers coming off a dub versus the Cowboys. I was at that game. Your boy was not happy with the results of this game. 27-30, a shootout that it was a shootout, man, but it wasn't like one of those dynamite shootouts that was super fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. It was raining. My seats ended up not being as good as I thought they were online. I had fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a blast, but it wasn't like I expected a 30-27 game. If you would have told me that was going to be the score when I went to that game, I would have been like, dang, this is going to be an electric game. And it wasn't that electric to me. Looking at the game before that, they ended up beating Miami in a close 27-24. Other than that, man, they've looked pretty terrible. They did beat Atlanta 30-0, so maybe the Panthers aren't as bad as I'm giving them credit for. So maybe I'm just a hater, but they did just beat me last weekend, so I deserve to be a hater for at least this video. Looking at the Jets, Jets are sitting 0-6, just lost to Denver 11-13, lost to Dallas the game before that, lost to Miami, lost to Tampa Bay, lost to Buffalo, lost to Pittsburgh. They have not looked good. They have a lot of close games. The Jets are 0-6, man, and I do think this could be their first win. Now, I'm not super confident in that. I'm going to take the Jets in my Pick'em League just because it's plus 105 odds, and most people don't have the Jets, even though it says public betting, 67% of the money is on the Jets to win. Majority of the picks in my Pick'em League are not on the Jets. So I'm going to be taking the Jets on this one. I'm going to take the Jags on this. This gives me a good edge. Now, chances are both these miss. There is a decent chance there, but I'm going to take a risk on it. If I came to betting on one of these, if I ended up playing a teaser, I'd take the Jags plus 11.5, and I'd probably just take the Jets plus 8.5 or something like that, or plus 9.5, depending on how many points on the teaser you want to take. I honestly think the over 33.5 is probably a good teaser play as well if you wanted to play teasers on this. But a lot of people don't like teasers. If I was going for a money line or going for a regular sports book on this one, I'd probably just take the Jags plus 3.5, and then I'd just take the Jets money line. That'd be the two plays I probably ended up taking. Looking at the next game, the next game that I want to talk about is going to be the Eagles versus the Vikings. So I'm going to skip over the Raiders Chiefs game. I think the Chiefs, they just look dominant lately, man. They just beat the Lions, and I thought the Lions were going to win that game, and they dominated them. So Chiefs, I have nothing to say. I think they beat the Raiders. The Raiders are a team that has been hit or miss. Some games they look good, some games they look horrendous. Lots of turnovers, things like that. So I think the Chiefs come out here and win. It's minus 700 odds. There's really not anything I want to play on this game for the most part. Looking at the game I want to talk about, Eagles versus Vikings. Vikings sitting at plus 120 underdogs at home. Minnesota plus 1.5 on the spread, and the total sitting at 43.5. 85% of the money's on the Eagles. 81% of the money on the Eagles covering the spread, and then 75% of the money is on the total over on the total of this game. Now, looking at the Eagles, man, they started off the season 4-0. I want to go ahead and throw this out there. There's like 3 games in here that could have went the other way that they got really lucky on. One of these being their field goal block for a touchdown versus the Rams. The other being their 24-20 victory versus Dallas in the opening game of the season, where Dallas fumbled in the end zone and threw I think CD, or they fumbled in the red zone and then fumbled another time. There was a lot of turnovers for Dallas that ended up being the reason they lost that game. So 2 of these games could have been losses. Barely beat the Chiefs 20-17. That could have ended up being a loss. So some very, very close victories here. They've lost 2 games in a row versus Denver and versus the Giants. Not many people had the Giants winning that. I know there was a couple in the Discord that said it, but I don't think majority of the population would have thought the Giants would have been the second L in a row for the Eagles. Now, if you look at the Vikings, on the other hand, the Vikings just coming off a dub versus the Browns. They lost the game before that to the Steelers. They've lost versus Atlanta. They dominated the Bengals, and then they ended up beating Chicago 27-24. To me, the Vikings haven't looked that strong. Now, neither have the Eagles, and we got some Eagles fans in the Discord saying they think the Eagles lose this one too, but I just don't see that happening, man. 3 in a row for the Eagles, that would be a devastating season for the reigning Super Bowl champions. So I think the Eagles come out here with a little different mindset. I think they come out here, I think they play well. I think this game's going to be pretty close, but I think the Eagles win. If I had to take a pick on this one, I'm taking Eagles Philly money line minus 121 odds. It's not very juiced. You could take a minus 1.5 on the spread. I don't think that's a bad play either. I think they win by a field goal at least, and I could run that. So either one of these I think is a good play. Looking at these 2 teams in terms of props, I do think this is a game where you could potentially get some value. If you look at the offense of these teams right now, the Eagles are averaging 274 yards per game on offense, 95 being rush yards, and 179 of them being pass yards. So their offenses look incredibly weak, the 3rd weakest offense in the league right now. If you look at the defense for the Minnesota, ranked 6th, 290 yards per game on offense or on defense allowed, 132 of those being rushing yards, and then 157 being passing yards. So they do like to give up a decent amount of rushing yards, not very many passing yards. Looking at the other side of things, Minnesota's getting 300 yards per game on offense, 106 rushing yards, 200 passing yards. Then looking at the Eagles' defense, the Eagles' defense hasn't been very good either, giving up 342 yards per game, which is 134 rush yards and 208 passing yards. So this is a game that I think could go either way. I'm running the Eagles, though. I think the Eagles come out here and get a dub. I don't think they lose 3 in a row, so I got to run with that on this one. Total on this game, that one's hit or miss. I'd probably lean, if I ran a teaser, I'd lean the over, probably over 37.5 or over 36.5. I mean, 36.5 is pretty low. Regular teaser, I'm probably just going to fade. And you can see 75% of the money has the over on this one. I think the Vikings might struggle to move the ball here. Quarterback hasn't been looking too good, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in this one. But I got the Eagles winning for sure. Next game I want to talk about, I got 2 more. It's going to be the Falcons, or let's start with the Commanders versus the Cowboys. So we're going to talk about this one first. So we're going to go in order by what Outlier has. So looking at this game, we got Dallas versus the Commanders playing in Dallas. Dallas is minus 115 favorites, or pretty much even odds here. Minus 1.5 on the spread, and the total sitting at 54.5. So a very high total. Expecting a shootout in this game. 2 weak defenses with 2 okay offenses. If you look at Dallas, they're 77% of the money on the money line. 76% of the money is on Dallas covering the spread, and then 81% of the money on the over on this total. Dallas coming off a tough L versus Carolina. They beat the Jets the game before that. Pushed with the Green Bay, ended up being a tie game there, and then they lost 2 other games, a close game to the Eagles, and then a pretty devastating loss to the Bears. Looking at the Commanders just lost to the Bears as well, 25-24, close game. Just beat the Chargers, lost a close game to Atlanta, beat the Raiders, lost to Green Bay. Like, hit or miss teams, man, both these teams so far. Commanders missing some players, which is a pretty big thing for the Commanders, which we can look at injuries here. I don't know why I didn't mean to click off of that, to be honest with you. So looking at some of the injuries that we have, and the big one that I really want to talk about is going to be, you have Terry McLaurin, obviously, that is out. You have Deebo Samuel, who is out, which is going to be huge for their offense. So a lot of the passing game for the Commanders is pretty much gone. They're missing Austin Eckler as well. He's been out, obviously. Noah Brown's out. They have a lot of injuries right now on this Washington team. And I think this could be sorry, I'm all over the place. But I think this could be one of the key factors in Dallas winning this game. So as a Cowboys fan, man, I got to take Dallas money line on this one, minus 115 odds. I'm not betting on the Commanders for sure. In my pick 'em, I'm taking Dallas. I'm going to lean on them just like I did last week, even though it bit me in the butt. I don't think Washington's a better team. I really don't think they're a better team. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Dallas. I don't think Dallas's defense is that good, but I think they could come out and get a couple key stops to end up causing them to win this game. So looking at this team's offense, Washington's averaging 345 yards per game on offense, 151 rush yards. So Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has been a beast so far. And we know the Cowboys can't stop the run. 142 rushing yards per game averaged on defense. 28th ranked defense in the league. So Krosky-Merritt's going to have a good game, which I'll take him on player props too. Looking at pass yards, 195 passing yards per game for Washington. So their passing offense has been pretty terrible, and they're going against the worst pass defense in the league, giving up 270 passing yards per game. So Dallas can't stop anything. On the other side of things, Dallas's offense is ranked second in the league, getting 387.5 yards per game on offense. 117 rush yards, 270 pass yards, going against a weak defense. 25th ranked defense, giving up 357 yards per game, 121 rush yards, and 235 pass yards. So this got shootout written all over it based off of paper games, or on paper. I think the Cowboys win. I think this is a very, very good game to target props, and I think you can get probably 4 or 5 props out of here, if not more, that you could cash for sure. That being said, jumping into the next game, this is the last one I'm going to talk about before we jump into these player props. We got the Falcons taking on the 49ers. So, looking at this game, San Francisco is minus 122 favorites, minus 2.5 on the spread, and the total is sitting at 46.5. Looking at the money, 63% is on the Falcons to win, 58% on them to cover the spread, and 67% of them of the total going over. I need a sip of my drink real quick. All right, so Falcons coming off 2 wins in a row. 2 wins in a row versus Buffalo and versus Washington. They've looked pretty dang good, man. Their offense has been strong. Bijan Robinson has been unstoppable, so you got to give him credit where credit's due, going against this 49ers team that just lost to Tampa Bay. They ended up beating L.A. the game before that. And then losing to the Jags. So two of their last 3 games have been some tough L's against some decent teams. It's not like they're losing to bad teams. They've looked pretty dang good even without Brock Purdy. So I don't think that this game's going to be low scoring. The Falcons defense on paper looks pretty good. The total's sitting at 46.5. I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball consistently. I don't know that I'd touch this total. If I had to take a pick for this game, I'd probably take an 8-point teaser and take the Falcons plus 10.5. That'd probably be my play because I think the Falcons keep this game close. In terms of picking a team to win, that's tough, man. That's really, really tough. The Niners have looked pretty dang decent. I'd probably just roll with the Falcons because they're plus money right now. This was coin flip. Like, really, I can see this going either way. But looking at these two teams on offense, and I'm not going to go over every number like I have been. You're looking at the number one offense in the league, getting 380 yards per game on offense, 151 rush yards, the best rushing offense in the league right now, and 227.6 pass yards. Going against the middle of the pack defense, 14th in rush yards and then 18th in pass yards. San Francisco's offense is ranked 6th. Decent amount of offense, getting 82 rush yards per game, one of the worst rushing offenses. But you got Christian McCaffrey, man. He can move the ball. He can receive the ball or he can run the ball. He's good. Looking at pass yards, they have the number one pass offense right now, getting almost 300 yards per game through the air. And obviously Brock Purdy's not playing, but it doesn't really matter, man. They've been playing well. Looking at the defense, 29th ranked rush defense. They give up a lot of rush yards, and then their pass defense is ranked 4th. They don't give up very many passing yards. So I think Christian McCaffrey could feast in this game. I think it's a good look if you want to play him. So that being said, guys, we're about to jump into some player props and actually lock in some live slips if you guys do want to play them. Once again, go follow the TikTok and the Instagram to get day 4 of the ladder challenge. We're about to make a $540 play, and it should cash out for $800 to $1,000 depending on what kind of odds we end up playing on that one. But if you guys do want to get a free month of our VIP, sign up for any of the partnered apps down below. There's up to 7 partnered apps: Chalkboard, Underdog, Sleeper, Parlay, Play Better, Novig, Dabble. Any of those 7 apps get you a free month. You can get up to 7 full months for free. Just use our code, send me a message on Discord, and we will get you guys added. Let's jump into our first pick of the day, and the first one's going to be my favorite prop for the Cowboys game. It's going to be our man Brandon Aubrey. I have to take Brandon Aubrey. I've been playing him about every week right now at dang, bro, my hat is bothering me. Over 1.5 extra points. So it shows 2.5 right now. 1.5 is what I just saw on Prizepicks. He's cashed it 5 of 6 games on the season. Head-to-head, he's cashed it 1 of his last 2 versus Washington. They give up 1.7 extra points per game. Washington's defense hasn't looked super good, man. I'm just going to be honest. I don't care about previous stats, whatever. I think Dallas moves the ball on the ground or through the air. I think Javonte Williams has a good game. I think Dak Prescott has a good game. I think this is just going to be a game where it's almost shootout potential. And I like Brandon Aubrey for two extra points. You can get it on Prizepicks. There's not much that needs to be said about this game. It's going to end up being or about this prop. It's going to be a goblin. You can take him at 2.5 no, you can't. It's 3.5 or 1.5. I'm not touching 3.5, but at 1.5, you got a really, really good prop here. The next prop I want to talk about is from this same game, and it's going to be for our man Krosky Merritt. I'm taking Krosky Merritt over 66.5 rushing yards. So let's find him on here. And here he is, 66.5. This gives you a double up if you play these two together. You don't have to play these two together. Let's pull up our man Jacory Krosky Merritt. So let's pull him up real fast. This is a guy who's actually been playing pretty dang good. I know I kind of hated on him a little bit in the last video. I wasn't hating. I was just saying he's not like... On paper, he looks good. In terms of, like, you compare him to some of these top running backs, I just don't see a comparison there. But he has been running good. He's averaging 57 rushing yards per game on the season. He's had 61 versus the Bears. He had 111 the game before that versus the Chargers. We just saw what the Panthers did to the Cowboys with the run game. The Cowboys cannot stop the run. They have the 29th ranked rush defense, giving up 140 yards per game. Running backs, they give up 110 to the running back position. Washington runs the ball 47% of the time. Krosky Merritt gets 36.6% of the rush share. He's averaging right at 10 rush attempts per game. His last 2, he's had 14 and 17. So he has been running the ball a lot more lately. This is going to be what they use on Dallas. I think their game plan coming in here, missing all their star wide receivers, give the ball to Jacory, him or they might have some backup running backs, whatever. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is a very good scrambling quarterback. He has 22% of the rush share. Jaden Daniels is going to have some built-in run plays for sure. And then Jacory Krosky Merritt's going to be the other one. He's going to get 15 to 20 carries, in my opinion. And I think he goes over 66.5 rush yards against my NFL team, the Cowboys. So I like Krosky Merritt on here. We can pull it up real quick. Krosky Merritt at 66.5. It's a 1.8x on parlay play, which means it's better value on parlay play, so you can lock that in if you'd like. Coming over here for pick number 3, it's going to be for our man Breece Hall. So I'm going to take Breece Hall on this one, the Jets versus the Panthers. This is another good matchup, in my opinion, another good game for targeting. And I'm going to take our man Krosky Merritt over 74.5 rushing and receiving yards. So it's rush and receive yards. This is a running back that gets quite a few targets. At 74.5, he's cashed this line in 3 of 6 games on the season. He is averaging 93.3. He had 59 versus the Broncos. If you look at the rushing receiving yards defense for Carolina, they give 81.3 rush yards and then 27.2 receiving yards to the running backs. Looking at our man, he gets 14.7 rush attempts per game, and he's averaging 4 targets per game. He had 0 his last game. The 3 games before that, he had 6, 6, and 5. This is a guy that gets a lot of targets the majority of the time. The Jets have looked rough. They pass the ball 54% of the time, run the ball 46% of the time. Breece Hall is the 3rd top targeted receiver, and then he is the number 1 running back, getting 54% of the rush share. Obviously, Justin Fields like to scramble. Justin Fields is pretty much a running back playing quarterback, but I think Breece Hall has a good game, man. Breece Hall has shown me a lot of good things this season. He's a guy I've been able to lean on in a lot of my props, and I think he cashes this out. So I'm going to lock in Breece Hall real quick. Rush and receiving yards. Right here, Breece Hall. I just saw Justin Fields. There's Breece Hall. That's rush yards. I'm not even on rush and receiving yards. Rush and receiving yards. Breece Hall at 74.5. You can play these 3 together and get a 2.5x. I'm pretty sure this was... Okay, it's a double up. So, we'll play around with these props and kind of make our own slips or whatever we need to do. But we got those 3 plays. Then the last play on the board that I wanted to take for right now for the free picks is going to be for our man Jackson Dart. Now, Jackson Dart does not have an original line on Prizepicks. If you come over here to passing yards, you find Jackson Dart. It's all going to be goblins. So I'm taking his highest line. That's not a demon play at 169.5. This gives us a 4.5x if you want to play it that way. 150 obviously wins you 675. But I like Jackson Dart to throw for 170. So Dart's looked good his last couple starts. They just had a very good game versus versus the Eagles they just beat. So pass yards at 169.5. He has cashed this in 2 of his last 3 starts, averaging 202 passing yards in 1 game, and then 195 in his last game versus the Philly. Now, Broncos have a good pass defense. 3rd best pass defense in the league, giving up 165 yards per game on average. If you look at the Giants, they've passed the ball 54% of the time, run the ball 46% of the time. Yes, they have a couple of good running backs. Scatterbo has been killing it. They got Tyrone Tracy, obviously. Scatterbo, 45% of the rush share has been unstoppable. Now, I think the Broncos are going to be able to kind of shut him down a little bit. I think the Broncos are going to win this game. I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, the Giants are. And I think they're going to have to air the ball out. So Jackson Dart at 169.5 pass yards. I don't think that's too many, and I'm definitely going to take a chance for that for a team that I think should be playing from behind. So that's what I got for these picks, guys. Let's go ahead and pull Jackson Dart up real quick. So Dart at 169.5, it's a 1.68x on here. You can get them at 175 for a regular payout. These 2 together will give you a 3x. I think I'm just going to run in 1 play, and we're going to do I have 2 other slips locked in, so I'm not going to show all those. Some of those are going to be VIP plays, so I'm just going to lock this in, and we'll show it from there. But who else did we take? We had Aubrey. If they even have PATs on here, they usually don't. No, they don't have Aubrey. And then the other one was... Who else did we have on here? Who am I forgetting? Breece Hall. Breece Hall. You can't forget Breece Hall, man. That's messed up. So Breece Hall, rush and receiving yards at, we'll just do 69.5 right here just to make it a little bit lighter. And this gives us a 3.6x, $250 to win 900. So I'm going to lock this in real quick. It is placed right here. 3.61x, 250 wins 902. We got Breece Hall over 69.5 rushing and receiving yards, Jackson Dart, and then Krosky Merritt. I like this slip a lot, man. You can play this on here if you want for a 4.5x. If you were to take out Brandon Aubrey, this ends up being a 3.5x, so it is better value in parlay play. Code Fantasy Aces on parlay play gets you a free month of VIP. Lock it in if you like it, guys. Fade it if you don't. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video after hopefully we can sweep these picks.